give us the intro again.
Bonjour mes amis! Hi guys!
Rebonjour Simon! Alright, this time we're talking Rolex, brand new acquisition from Simon, what had just came out not long ago. I had shown you a little preview of it on my wrist last July when I was in Belgium. I got to try it, but it wasn't available for sale. And Simon got the call. So what's the story, Morning Glory? Let's discover everything. As you know, I had the previous iteration of the Air King, which is a completely different watch, believe it or not. It was based on the Milgauss case, so much thicker. And yes, I speak in the past because I did sell it after I got the Milgauss, and then I did sell the Milgauss because I thought it was just too thick. You know, if you get an Explorer, for example, at one point you find that those heavier cases with the inside cage are just a bit cumbersome. But here, everything redesigned. So Simon, when did you get this?
I got this one less than a week ago actually. So it was under my radar maybe since 2020. At that time, especially here in Hong Kong, it was getting very difficult to get any sport steel watches from Rolex, more and more difficult. And as some of you may know, like over the past 2 years, it has been absolutely almost impossible. You need to be extremely well connected, or VVVV, IP, or stuff like that. So yeah, this one, first thing that caught my attention like more than 2 years ago was if you notice, the color that we'll associate with Rolex is the green and the golden yellow. And this is one of the very, very few, if not the only Rolex watch where you see green and the golden yellow on the dial. The actual crown is yellow, and the second end is Rolex green, and the Rolex wording is in green. So I think it's quite interesting. And I did not really have a Flieger in my collection. I have a Hamilton that I bought like 4 years ago, but I mean in that kind of price range I didn't have a Flieger. Of course there's IWC, but I guess I'm more a Rolex guy than an IWC. So
yeah, I never could go into the WC. I like to look at them, I like the Top Guns and all that. I appreciate the look, but I never felt the compulsion to grab it, and it's so great that Rolex offers just a one model. That's also something special, is that they don't do 10 different colors of it. There's one Air King.
There's only one of it.
Well, in the past they had all sorts of Air King, and they're very cool. My son cried one day because I wouldn't buy him an Air King we saw at the pawn shop. But this is the Air King, and the redesign. What do you think of it?
The redesign is amazing. As some of you may know, the case is completely changed. I mean, obviously, if you look at both watches, and unfortunately we don't have the previous one that Optic used to own, but if you look at them both close to each other, you will notice, first thing you notice is the symmetry of the dial. So this one got a 0 in front of the 5, and it does quite a change. It really realigned the symmetry of the dial.
True.
You also have the crown guards, if you take a look on the right hand side. So the previous model didn't have that, but also more importantly, the case. This case is only 11.6 millimeter thick compared to 13.3 for the previous model. So, and it's a different case, but of course if you only pay attention for a few seconds, you will notice the 0.5 crown guard and the thickness of the case.
But you were saying that the watch grew a little bit as well in the diameter of the dial, at
Only
least.
the dial. So same.
The watch is still 40?
Still 40 millimeter.
Okay.
But if you take a look at the dial, apparently it's 0.8 millimeter wider.
So they didn't just add a 0 next to the 5, they had to redo everything. And of course put lume in the 369, but they had to redo everything.
Yeah, that's the kind of, this is people like that really love watches, like yourself and myself. We tend to pay attention to little details like this, but you know, for more common people, they will only look at this watch and the other version. They will think that it's exactly the same. They will only notice the obvious, like the crown guard and stuff. But as you said, when you increase the size of the dial even by 0.8 millimeter, you need to completely like redesign some of it. And apparently, even the fount. If you take a look at the fount, they have changed a tiny little bit as well.
That's interesting. I'm gonna try to put on the side some stock footage of my own previous Air King, which by the way is a lovely watch. You know, everyone who owns it, it's definitely a collectible for the future, and I had a lot of fun with it. I remember a crazy night here in Hong Kong with it, so I have very fond memories, and I bought it in Belgium. It was a great adventure in itself, so it's a cool watch. But this one, it's almost a completely different watch that, as you say, people might not notice at first glance, but case construction is completely different. And the reason they don't need the inside protection of the movement anymore is that now they have the Chrono G escapement, they have the silicone technology for the hairspring, and that's basically anti-magnetic to a higher degree than the mill Gauss of the mill Gauss and whatever the Air King was providing before. So now this as an instrument for an actual pilot around a bunch of machines is even more adapted.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact you just mentioned, because obviously in the previous incarnation it was exactly the same case as the mill Gauss. So for anti-magnetism, you would think that the previous version would be better than this one, but as you just rightfully mentioned, with the evolution of this new movement, which is the 3230, then you have like all those characteristics that still make it anti-magnetic. So at the end of the day, you have the same result apparently. So that's pretty good. Another little detail that you may notice, because now you're on the clasp, right? If you take a look at the clasp, this one is different than the previous version. The actual logo of Rolex is an applique crown. It's not a stamp crown. If you remember your previous version.
The previous one had the fold over, or was it just?
No,
yeah, it was just a push.
You can verify.
Yeah.
But this one got the fold over, so it gives you a better sense of security.
And you have the easy link.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I have to say I would like Simon to lose a bit of weight because we used to have the same wrist size, but this watch is not too floppy on my wrist. This is the easy link here. Even with the easy link closed, it is a bit too big for my wrist, and if Simon will allow me, I can't resist. You know, I still have the wrist shot from the time I tried it on myself in July, but I can't resist trying on Simon's.
So we have the same wrist size. Let's just say that maybe our wrist doesn't.
But I thought I had beefed up. You know, I've been to the gym really. This is how it is. The thing is, you know, yes, it is less thick, but being flatter almost makes it look wider. A bit the same effect you get with the Explorer 2, which, well, it is 42, but it feels wider when it's the proportions have totally changed. It's a totally different watch, but super slim. Man, if you're a pilot, can you do better than that? Even better than the GMT. I think the readability of the 369 and
with the loom in the 369, it's such a different story in the dark. Not sure you can get the nice.
Not much loom here, yeah, but I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna insert a loom shot, a stock loom shot, and of course you get the oyster bracelet, all brushed, so no worry here. You can go for it. Are you gonna go hiking? What are you gonna do with this? What are you gonna do with this? You're another pilot. What are you gonna do with this watch?
Now that I need to reduce my wrist size, I may need to do more hiking.
Are you gonna make love with this watch?
I should try that with my wife.
I keep my watch on when
she got, to be fair, she got a Rolex before me.
Before you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't
birthday,
have. This is your first Rolex, so
yeah,
really
surprisingly.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that, guys.
Finally.
So funny, people used to make fun
Yeah.
of me because I've been on my watch collecting journey since 2016, and over the past 2-3 years, like many other people, well, thanks to COVID, I shouldn't say that, but it free a lot of resources for most of us. So I put this money against
but you
increasing my
could have
watch
gone
collection.
there before, you know, I went there through the back door, getting the old Explorer 2. It's a bit of a gateway, you know, it was trading under the 40,000 Hong Kong dollar. I guess you wanted to do it the right way from the authorized dealer.
Exactly. For me,
that's
it was
the-
important to get
the
it
way to
from
go.
an authorized dealer.
So how do you feel now that you have your first Rolex? Does it change the rest of your collection in your mind? Do you see it differently?
Yeah, I think it. You know, there's some. Every time I was looking at my collection has changed quite a lot since the first time we did my collection review. So maybe we're due to do a version 2 of my very
Have you
own.
sold anything?
No, I
You can't sell. You
no,
can't
I
sell.
didn't
You're
sell.
that kind of guy. I will sell them for you.
Oh my god.
I have no sentiment.
I'm very attached to my watches. I don't sell them, but what I do is I always have my top 8, and that top 8 rotates as I'm acquiring new watches. Yeah, it changed a bit the dynamic of my top 8 collection, having a Rolex in it. And as I was saying, I bought a Rolex for my wife for her birthday in July. So I got her a Datejust, very nice Jubilee bracelet, fluted bezel, and she told me you should get one for yourself. Yeah,
I like your
obviously.
Well, the other day when my wife knows I have a Rolex. Actually, she's never seen the Datejust, but yeah, she was not so supportive when I wanted to buy that Date 8 that I could not afford anyway. I wish she had said, "Oh, you got to do whatever it takes to get it because it's amazing."
Yeah, we kind of all wish that. But yeah, in the case of my wife, she was quite supportive, especially after I bought her that new Rolex for herself.
Yeah, always get one. You see, that's your takeaway for this video. Always get one for the wife first,
yeah.
and then get one for you. But
If there's an advice, I would strongly suggest any watch collector out there, please consider getting one for your wife from time to time. Depending on the wife, it can be a different ratio. It can be 1-3, 1-5, 1-10. But get her one.
And then you have to add the occasional bag, designer bag as well, which you know is just a waste of money. Unlike Rolex, which will keep its money. Well, who knows, you know.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
Now, another tricky question. The Air King has a very specific look. You know, it's very sporty. It's a pilot's watch. It might not have been your first choice as a Rolex. You've been wanting for a long time a Datejust.
Absolutely.
Blue dial. You want what is it called? That dial? The pyramid. No,
The
it's not a
fluted
pyramid.
motif dial.
Fluted motif
so
dial.
yeah, that's the one I wanted.
Blue dial.
Blue dial.
Do you still want it, or now that you have this one, you're like, okay, I have enough?
No, I still want it, and I'm still on the list for it. Unfortunately.
And you're also talking about the root beer.
Yeah, I'm also.
You want
yeah.
them all.
That's the thing, right? When
Pokemon.
once you get one, you want them all.
Gotta catch them all.
But to be honest with you, I think you put the finger on the right spot here. I initially
I'm not
wanted,
touching Simon
Yeah.
under the table.
We're very close, but not that close.
We are in public.
Yeah, indeed. No, I wanted the Datejust 36 fluted motif dial, fluted bezel, Jubilee bracelet. And there's 2 versions of the dial: fluted dial with diamond and fluted dial with just stick indices. And that was my number one Rolex I wanted. And yes, it's very difficult to get in Hong Kong. Very little stock comes in, and apparently some of the authorized dealers, they don't necessarily choose what they get. They just receive.
No, yeah, they don't know what they get. They
don't know, right?
They get a cube with a bunch of watches, and yeah. Well, you know, it will be more special when you get it. Yeah, my Datejust. I went for the 41, but my wrist is very flat, so for me it's very good. I'm still wearing the Zenith today. I really like the 41. So
I got the
but you want
bony
the,
wrist.
you want the classic size 36.
I want a classic size. My wrist, even though is almost the same size as yours, the difference is that I got a tiny bit of a different shape. So some will recognize. Whoops. the little bone right here. So because of that, it's a different feel. But it sits quite flat, even though my wrist is not flat.
Yeah.
But I like the way it sits. And as you can see, yes, my wrist has increased
Jesus.
in size a tiny bit.
Jesus, get down on the fries
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
mayo.
Yeah. I need to stop eating poutine. As you know, some of you may know, I'm
Yeah,
French
we're gonna have to
Canadian.
resize everything when we share watches. Once again, Simon and I are not an item. We're both married.
Yeah, happily married.
We should share watches. We do have an amazing collection.
Oh yeah, that would be the great.
I wouldn't mind
collection.
having an Air King. I think it's a novelty idea. Sharing watches. Okay. Anything else you wanted to tell us about the gorgeous new Air King?
Yeah, maybe a few things. So.
What did you think about when you get the call? You had asked for it, right? You mentioned it.
Yeah. So
But you mentioned everything. You mentioned
Oh.
you did like any Rolex.
Yeah, well, long story short.
When she called you for the Pearl Master, you said no.
Yeah, I wish. No, what happened is when I bought the Rolex for my wife, the day just, I reminded very kindly but very firmly that I was extremely interested by a Datejust, the one that we just mentioned, fluted motive dial, fluted bezel, Jubilee bracelet 36. But I've also reiterated that I wanted as well an Air King. And they told me that this could be easier actually. So, but I was not expecting. So that was the end of July, and I received the call. We still received the call, but in fact it's here in it's more WhatsApp message in Hong Kong.
Or an MMS.
Yeah, or an MMS in some cases.
Because we're still stuck in 1995.
Yeah, in some it's a high tech city, but in some cases we're stuck in 90s.
Traditional ways, I like that.
Yeah. So when I got the call or the WhatsApp message, that was very fast. It took less than a month from the time that I've kind of reminded them that I'm very interested by having a Air King. And then
So
same day I went there.
So
No
although
brainer.
it's a sports model, and the Datejust typically is always available, nobody. But maybe the blue dial Datejust is still high in demand. Even in the 36mm version, which is bizarre. Or maybe Rolex doesn't send as many as they do.
I think it's the motive
sports
dial
watches.
So maybe you can.
Oh yeah, because it's a new dial.
You can put it during the montage, but there's a slight difference between the blue dial and the motive dial, because I've seen a couple of normal traditional blue dial, but the motive dial that was really.
Hey, be careful what you're gonna say about my wife's watch, because she's got the blue dial with the diamonds.
Yeah, I know.
Wears it all the time.
I know. It's such a nice watch.
And I gotta say thank you to Alfred again. Maybe he's gonna watch this, because she's really wearing her watch to death.
I was quite jealous when you got that watch.
So,
as you know.
so what it says is that maybe the I had to buy a Tudor to get that one. All right, great Tudor, by the way. So maybe there's not such high demand for the Air King. Is it the forgotten Rolex?
It's a quirky watch. I mean, look at it. This is the kind of Rolex. It flies a little bit under the radar, especially in a city like Hong Kong, where most people will have the Submariner on the wrist. They will have the Daytona. You will see like typical middle-aged women taking the MTR. Like there's no issue at all rocking a Rolex Daytona. Like there's nothing there. So people they have their classic model here in Hong Kong, and most other places. Let's be honest. Like people, when they go for Rolex, they go either for the GMT Master 2, they go for Datejust, they go for Submariner, Daytona. But this one flies a tiny bit under the radar. So that's an interesting feature of it. Like when you wear this, people won't necessarily notice it for Rolex. Of course, like watch collectors.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is good.
It's very endearing, and more I'm going to tell you that watches that are very visually recognizable annoy me more and more, and you feel uncomfortable wearing them, and you obviously can't travel with them. But even in Hong Kong, I have more pleasure wearing a watch that nobody recognizes too quick. And this is maybe the worst, because the other day a colleague of mine asked me if I was wearing the Daytona, and I was like, no, it's the Zenith. But it's very recognizable, it's very flashy, and someone might rob it from your wrist thinking it's the Rolex, which is even worse. But Yeah, it is very striking, the contrast on the watch, and this is under the radar. It's a Rolex you can wear at night without fear. I remember, going out in one shy, which is kind of like the party era of town, with my Air King that I just bought that day. No, I had bought it in Europe, and it's the first time I was wearing it in Hong Kong, and no problem, no issue. Nobody's gonna notice it. And you want to put some good times into your watches. You don't want to worry about it. So this is maybe a good times watch.
Yeah,
Do you wear it at night? Because now you have the lume on the 369, which was missing.
No, I don't wear it at night. I'm not like you. I don't sleep with my watches.
I need to know the time all the time. I wake up all the time, so I wake up every 2 hours.
I can confirm sometimes. Me and Optic, we exchange WhatsApp messages like 4 a.m. He replies to me like, "What's happening?"
When there's a new release by Tudor or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah. So it's a very under the radar watch. So you wear Rolex. At the same time, most people
Yeah,
won't
because
necessarily notice.
They're all the same. It's the Oyster case, the Oyster case, and the Oyster bracelet, and they're the same. They're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the one for the cool, like the Milka. This is the one for the cool people, I think. The cool dudes who want something different, and really super cool vibe, and love the redesign. It's so comfortable.
It's a different watch, huh?
It is the one, usually we try to not buy the same watch together, but if I get the chance, I would grab one, because like you, I'd like to have a pilot's watch, but I could never get into an IWC. And it's funny, it's the only two watches you think about. Maybe Breitling has a bit that vibe as well.
Maybe one day in IWC. I like the idea of Le Petit Prince, because most people that grew up in francophone, French-speaking countries like Quebec or Belgium and France, we kind of like the history
But
of
they all
Le
look the
Petit
same. I
Prince.
can't tell the difference between one IWC
Yeah,
pilot
you're
and
right.
the other one.
Maybe one day, only for that. But
And until they make one which doesn't look like the other ones, and it's really special because it has a Tiffany dial.
oh yeah, maybe this will attract the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd were not, but
It would be
the other
so
crowd.
easy, It's like Gérard Perregaux today released the green dial
yeah.
version, a very green.
Unexpected,
of the
completely
Laureato.
big surprise,
Man.
sarcasm.
It goes to show with what goes on in Switzerland, it's not that deep. Sometimes it also has to appeal to the masses.
So
but anyway,
predictable.
we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Air King, wonderful. Thank you so much, Simon, for sharing it with us. Guys, let us know. Let Simon know what you think about his first Rolex. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
I love it. If you're gonna get the first one, and you can get it from the authorized dealer, even better. Wonderful. Any closing remark?
No, I think we've covered many things. The power reserve has been increased with the new movement. What else?
You're gonna wear it every day. Who cares?
Yeah.
Actually, no. You're gonna share the wrist time with the watch we just covered before, the Mont Blanc. Here, look at those two.
Bisperarum.
That's all you need, really. You can travel the world with these two. Right, I'm about to sneeze, so we're gonna tune out.
We're gonna tune out on this one.
And enjoy our highball here at the Aubrey in Hong Kong at the Mandarin. Cheers, guys. Thank you, Simon.
Santé.
Very lucky man. We say au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Merci.